On July 25, 2012, a U.S. CH-47 Chinook helicopter on a mission in Afghanistan was attacked by Taliban forces and hit by a U.S.-made Stinger missile. The missile was embedded directly in the helicopter and did not explode, possibly due to improper operation. According to the serial number on the missile, the U.S. military found that the missile should have belonged to the U.S. military in Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base. During an internal audit, the U.S. military found that an entire batch of Stinger missiles, which were intended to support pro-American forces in Libya, had disappeared. But the fact that his own missile fell into the hands of the Taliban and attacked an American helicopter was such a big deal that President Obama ordered an investigation. As it turned out, Stinger had been traced to a trove of documents recently signed by the CIA. The Stinger fired at the Chinooks was part of the same batch of weapons the CIA handed over to Qatar in early 2011. The weapons were prepared by the State Department under then Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton to be used by anti-Gaddafi forces in Libya. The shooting down of the Chinooks was reported by the U.S. mainstream media without details, and the New York Post later reported but did not disclose the details. The CIA, the FBI, the State Department, and other agencies have been involved in the investigation, trying to figure out what happened. John Stevens, who had just been appointed ambassador to Libya on January 23, 2012, was also in the middle of it. He was asked by senior officials to track down the remaining Stings and try to recover them. Stevenson was accused by the intelligence community of being involved in an illegal arms trade. The State Department approved the transfer of a batch of Stung anti-aircraft missiles to Libyan rebels after the CIA discovered that they had been shipped out of Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar by contractors and ended up on the black market in North Africa. The Stinger missiles were even resold to Ansar al-Sharia, an extremist group in Libya through which the Afghan Taliban acquired new Stinger missiles. In February 2012, Andrew Shapiro, then the Assistant Secretary of State for Political Military Affairs, declared in a speech that the United States and the new Libyan government had recovered and obtained about $5,000 anti-aircraft missiles. In May 2012, Washington Post columnist David Ignatius detailed claims by two former CIA counterterrorism officials that about 800 missiles were located in Niger, which borders Libya in the southwest. In a headquarters is located in Nigeria, Africa, called Boko Haram Jihad. There is good reason to believe that in the days leading up to Stevenson's death on September 11, 2012, both Stevenson and CIA personnel in Benghazi were focused on recovering Stinger missiles. The Clinton Foundation, which is the foundation of Hillary Clinton, is suspected of being involved in the arms sales, and Stevenson, then the U.S. ambassador to Libya, was directly involved as a subordinate. Mrs. Clinton needs to answer her colleagues. Stevenson did want to deal with Hillary, his friend and boss, but he found that in the chaos of Libya, there was nothing he could do but stay in the embassy in Benghazi. Stevenson wanted more security at the embassy, and between his return to Benghazi in August 2012 and his killing on September 11th, he sent more than 600 reports to Hillary Clinton and the White House, all of which were ignored. On September 10th, there was a huge demonstration in Benghazi aimed at the United States, and that night a large number of armed men followed the demonstrators as they approached the American embassy. At 10 o'clock that night, a large number of armed men began to attack the embassy. Several Marines stationed at the embassy were outnumbered and killed. Stevenson and his assistant hid in the secret room of the embassy. At the time, there was an American military base in Benghazi, but the American troops at the base did not seem to know what was happening at the embassy. On August 1st, Victor Somm, a journalist who had just published a book, Why Hillary Should Not Be in the White House, which revealed part of the Benghazi incident and attacked the Democratic Party, died at his home. On August 2nd, Sean Lucas, a lawyer who had sued the Democratic Convention for fraud, died at his home. The attacks on the Democratic Party and the search for facts have led to more deaths, which are ridiculously portrayed as conspiracy theories by the U.S. government-controlled media. In 2016, in order to further eliminate the public's suspicions, the U.S. government has built a theme movie, The Crisis is 13 Hours. The film focuses on the convoy of 6 soldiers stationed in Benghazi, Libya before the U.S. consulate against the enemy's story. From the positive publicity and former U.S. ambassador to Libya Stevenson lasts
Things were
13
done.
hours. But the film has caused controversy in Libya. Many Libyans felt it ignored the contributions of locals who tried to save the US ambassador. Libyan Foreign Ministry spokesman Salah Bernabar condemned the film's portrayal of the Libyan people, calling it fanaticism and ignorance. Culture and information. Minister Omar Gawari also criticized the film, saying, "The film presents as heroes the American contractors who actually failed to protect the ambassador," adding that Michael Bay reversed the failure of the US to protect the
The
ambassador.
morning of the 5th,
The vulnerable state of its own citizens becomes a quintessential action movie about American heroism. American officials and partisans hide the truth behind the facts through selective reporting. Lies and interests are behind democracy and freedom. The American political system is rotten and no one cares about the truth. Where is the
morning
Stinger
of the
missile?
5th,
Could these weapons, illegally sold
were
for
done.
personal gain, now be repeated in Ukraine?